time. After many people were asking for my opinions on it, I figured now is as good a time as any to review Digimon Adventure 2020, the much anticipated, but in many people much disappointing reboot of the original Digimon Adventure. Now, before we go any further, I should probably explain a couple things. First and foremost, no matter what I say, this reboot did its job. Digimon is enjoying a little bit of a pop culture resurgence right now, with its new season Ghost Game actually developing quite a bit of a following over its first few episodes. I've been reviewing it here on the channel if you're interested. And also, the trading card game is super popular right now. I'm playing it and am having middling results each week at locals, but it is doing very well, and I am glad as an old-timey Digimon fan to be seeing the brand have its time to shine again. As for the other thing that's important to note, I watched several reviews leading up to this, and a lot of people ultimately with this show did enjoy it. They chose to accept it for what it is and found entertainment in that. And if that is you, more power to you. I'm happy you were able to get into it. And if you're someone who is now new into Digimon through that reboot, that's great! Welcome to the big world of Digimon. Watch out for all the people who like to ship 9-year-olds. There's a disturbing amount of them in this fandom. But yeah, no, now that we are through all that, let us begin with the brutal, painful honesty, with me just putting it right here on Front Street and saying that I didn't like this really at all. There were very few things about this show that I enjoyed, and even fewer than that felt like genuinely really solid attempts at doing anything but just milking a nostalgia brand. The fact that Ghost Game is good at all is nothing short of a fucking miracle. Now again, people like this. That's fine. But in my opinion, the best way to enjoy this show is if you are 9 or 10 years old. I think this is a perfectly fine show for children. There's a lot of bright colors, there's a lot of fighting, there are a lot of attempts at humor. I think for a kid, this is a perfectly fun, entertaining Saturday morning. The problem is, if you're a Digimon fan, you're kind of expecting a little more. Digimon's kind of claim to fame was sort of this idea that it had a much more complex, more mature story than Pokemon, I guess is the right way to put it. And there are aspects of the original Digimon that don't hold up. There is definitely stuff that could have used the update. However, I do feel the original holds up in a lot of very important ways that this show fails at, and we're going to talk about that today. Both how this show fails as its own thing and as a reboot to what is many people's opinions an all-time classic. So let's just begin with kind of where the show starts to fall with its problems, and that is with Taichi. Oh my fucking god! Do you love Taichi? 'Cause he's in almost every fucking goddamn episode! They never give you a break from Taichi! Even in episodes where he shouldn't be here, he's there! It's so fucking annoying! Now yes, Taichi is the main character, so it makes sense for him to be there quite often. The problem here is that in the original show, they would give other characters time for their own storylines. Tai could be kept in the background so they themselves could develop their own arcs. But here, they have this tendency of just shoehorning him into every episode, and it doesn't feel like there is a story reason for it, or a character growing reason for it. It's done because they want to turn Taichi into, well, a marketing machine, in the same way Ash is for Pokemon or any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists. They want to stick him on a lot of trial decks, a lot of other products, and just use him to shell the fuck out of this brand. And it becomes a big problem, because even if an episode is about another character and he's just there, no one is particularly very interesting in this. All the characters have very bland, one-note personalities. Koshiro is the computer kid. Yamato is the edgy kid. Joe is the most fucking annoying thing I've ever heard in my life. Sora is the girl. Takeru and Hikari are just cute little kids. And Mimi is... You know what? for all this show's problems, Mimi is fucking awesome! I don't know why. They made her the best character. She's weird. She's eccentric. She's over the top. She's got a million things going on in her weird brain every minute, and it made her super entertaining. If all the characters had her personality and her energy, I don't even care about anything else wrong with this show. This show would be great, but none of them have anything to them. They're just their one personality trait, and that's it. What made these characters endearing in the 90s was because they all had backstories, they all had drama, they all had things going on in their life, and it wasn't like big crazy Destiny shit, unless you're Hikari, but she also sucks. It was mostly just real relatable drama that kids could understand. That's been taken away here. I don't know if they mention anyone's like home lives at all. Maybe Yamato gets the our parents are split up, that's why we don't see each other enough, but that's it. No one really has that. And before you say, well, they only have so many episodes, there's more episodes here than the original. There are 67 painfully boring, dragged out episodes of Digimon Adventure 2020, and at no point did they did anything with anybody. And how did they fill it in that time, you might be asking? With some of the worst pacing I've ever seen in my life. The first several arcs of this show follow a very specific formula, and that is there's a problem in the real world, and the kids need to go to the digital world to fix that problem. This does not work for so many reasons. First and foremost, like I said, they never really establish any character going into that, but the other issue is that even though something is going on, there's pretty much just all the time in the world to introduce new characters, get new Digivolution forms, learn about lore, meet characters of the day, get little hints about how the digital world works. Meanwhile, society is collapsing, and I just don't feel any, like, tension or sense that anything bad is going to happen because there's just all the time in the world for everything else, and there's just no attempt at really, like, making all that feel cohesive. To the point where the second half of this show, there's nothing going on. Like, it just becomes all filler, all one-off adventures. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of these I liked. Like all the Mimi episodes, because Mimi is fucking awesome in this. But the rest of them are just dumb, generic, like, Pokemon filler episodes. This show feels so modeled after the Pokemon anime, it's honestly, like, kind of silly. But yeah, no, everything just kind of goes on one-off adventures until you get to the end of the show, where it just kind of has one big threat that's settled in like 1 or 2 episodes, and that's it, and the show ends, and I sat there praying that Ghost Game would be good, and I'm glad it is. Now, many of you may be saying it is unfair to compare to the original, as those were different circumstances and a different creative team. That is fair. The issue comes in, the show is extremely reliant on your nostalgia. We don't have anything with the tags and crests from the original here until the end, but the crest symbols are everywhere. You have all the classic Digivolutions as well as several new ones. Okay, that was a little cool, and everyone getting their mega forms were nice. But the show constantly wants to appeal to the older fan base, and well, when you do stuff like have it that there's an episode where Sora is worried about Biomon's safety, and that's what causes them to digivolve, and in one you have it goes into Sora's backstory and her own troubled relationship with her own mother, and in this it's just Biomon gets hit by a rock or something and now Sora's sad. You're kind of like seeing why it doesn't entirely work. A lot of people also criticize the animation and fight scenes in this. I personally feel, though, for the kind of show this is, I think it maintains a fair amount of decent and relatively entertaining quality. Though, yeah, at times it could get a little janky, but I think it's mostly fine. And yeah, that's mostly all there is to it. Also, I love how, like, at one of the arcs, the kids disappear for 3 days, they come home, and, like, nobody fucking cares. Taichi's mom is like, oh, Taichi, you've been gone for 3 days. Hikari's our perfect child. You can die in a ditch. We don't care about you. But yeah, no, that's just kind of what it all ultimately just amounts to, and that is the show just doesn't care. It doesn't have that desire the original had to be like something new and interesting and creative and separate itself from its contemporaries. It 100% just wants to fall in line with them and milk off their success, and well, it's working. And while I'm glad Digimon is back, it does make you wonder, how long can you milk that nostalgia well? Because as we're seeing in our society, it does have its limits. But that's my thoughts. Again, if you liked this show, totally fine. If you got into it, great. If you now like Digimon, enjoy it. Again, don't encourage people when you ask who they ship Sora with. I've made that mistake too many times in life. You don't need to make my mistakes! But yeah, no, that was my thoughts on Digimon Adventure 2020. Give me your thoughts below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me as we continue to enjoy the fuck out of Digimon Ghost.